All right, ready to get a little philosophical today? We're diving deep into some seriously big ideas. Plato's allegory of the cave, the myth of Prometheus, even the hero's journey.
These stories, they've really stood the test of time, haven't they?
They really have. You've got a stack of sources on these, and we're here to help you unearth those golden nuggets, the aha moments that make you see the world a little differently.
Yeah, they tap into something very human, that drive to seek knowledge, even when it's difficult, even when it's resisted.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We've got Plato's cave, which, can't really escape it in philosophy class, right?
It's a classic for a reason. Imagine you're chained in this cave, and your entire world is these shadows flickering on a wall.
It's easy to read that and be like, oh, those poor prisoners.
Right.
But here's the thing. The source material itself says this isn't just about some dudes in a cave.
Right.
It's a metaphor for humanity as a whole.
It is.
How often do we go through life just kind of accepting what we see at face value, never really questioning if there's a deeper reality?
Yeah, and think about it. We're just bombarded constantly now, right? With information, with opinions, with all these biases.
It's so easy to just go with what feels familiar, even if it's not the whole picture.
Totally.
And that's where I think this whole knowledge is light concept comes in.
Right.
Like when Plato's prisoner, he escapes the cave and he sees the sun for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like this mind-blowing revelation.
Exactly. And that brings us to Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
Who steals fire from the gods, that same kind of enlightenment, and brings it to humanity. But, and this is important, both the escaped prisoner and Prometheus, they face consequences for this.
Wait, so you're drawing a parallel between a guy escaping a cave and like a mythical titan who steals fire.
It's the archetype.
Yeah.
You see, the after-school video you've got, it talks about this recurring figure, the hero who brings wisdom, often symbolized by light or fire, to a world that's kind of in darkness.
Okay, so not just a Greek thing then.
No, this is across cultures throughout history.
Give me some more concrete examples then.
Okay, well, think about factors like Socrates.
Yeah.
Right, or the Buddha. They challenged the status quo. They offered new ways of thinking, new paths to knowledge. And what happened? They faced huge pushback.
Well, Socrates was literally sentenced to death for his ideas.
Exactly. And the Buddha, he had to overcome those intense temptations, all those challenges, on his own path to enlightenment.
That's intense.
It is.
So why do you think there's this resistance to knowledge, though? Why is enlightenment always shown as such a struggle?
Well, let's go back to the prisoner who escaped.
Okay.
He goes back to the cave, right, to tell the others about what he's seen, about the sun.
Right, to enlighten them.
And what do they think? They think he's completely lost it.
Oh, he's gone mad.
Right. And that tells us something about human nature, I think, how we cling to what's familiar.
Even if it's not good for us.
Even if it's no longer serving us. Exactly.
Okay, I need a second to process that. So we've got the prisoner, we've got Prometheus, both facing resistance when they try to share what they've learned. How does the hero's journey fit into all of this?
Such a good question. Because the hero's journey, as Campbell describes it, it's another one of those powerful archetypes. And it mirrors these themes of enlightenment, of transformation.
So we're not just talking about, slaying dragons here.
Not just slaying dragons, although...
I do love those stories, though.
They often tap into this, too. But really, it's about those universal experiences, leaving behind facing the unknown, and then returning home, transformed by that journey.
Okay, I love where this is going.
Think of it in 3 stages: departure, initiation, and return.
Break it down for me.
All right. Departure, that's about venturing out into the unknown, like the prisoner leaving the cave or Prometheus defying the gods.
All right, big moves.
Exactly. Now, for you or me, that might be starting a new job, ending a relationship, even just deciding to learn something new.
Right, it's that step outside your comfort zone,
Yeah.
which is scary.
It can be.
Yeah.
And that's where initiation comes in. The hero faces challenges, confronts their fears, and through all of that, gains new insights. The prisoner, he's blinded by the sunlight at first, but then he starts to really see.
Oh, so there's that knowledge is light thing again?
Exactly. Prometheus, he gains the power of fire. This stage is all about the growth that happens when you push past those initial fears.
Okay, so they've faced their fears, gained new knowledge. But it's not over, is it? They don't just get to chill out at that point.
You've got it. There's the return. The hero comes back to their world, but they're changed. And they often come back wanting to share what they've learned, to help others see things in a new light. Like the prisoner wants to tell everyone about the sun, Prometheus wants to share the fire.
But wait, didn't we just talk about how that always leads to resistance? It's like, hey, everyone, check out this awesome thing I learned, and everyone else is like, yeah, you're nuts.
Exactly, and that's the thing, right? It's not just about the personal transformation. It's about trying to use that transformation to make a difference, to share those insights.
Which is hard.
It is. It means facing doubt, resistance, even hostility from those who are comfortable with how things are.
It's an age-old struggle, though.
It is, but I think it's a struggle worth having, don't you?
It really is. You know what? I think this is a good place to pause for a moment and take all of this in.
It's like those moments, those aha moments, they completely change how you see things.
Right. Like in the cave, when the prisoner sees the sun for the first time.
Exactly. And it's not even just about seeing things more clearly either.
What do you mean?
Well, remember, the sun, in that allegory, it represents truth, like ultimate knowledge.
Right.
It's not just that he learns new facts, it's that his whole understanding of reality shifts. He sees how everything's connected, the meaning behind what he thought were just shadows.
It's like leveling up in a video game or something.
Right. You get to this whole new level of understanding.
So how do we get that sunlight in our own lives then? It's not like we're going to find a cave to escape from.
No, it's not about a literal cave, of course.
No.
It's about being willing to question what we think we know, to get out of our comfort zones, really engage with ideas that challenge us.
So you're saying we've got to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable.
Exactly. And just like, a good workout, it can be tough. But those rewards, that growth you get, it's worth it.
It's like what we keep coming back to, right? That transformative power of knowledge.
Yes.
Oh.
It's not just about knowing more stuff. It's about changing how we see the world and our place in it.
But, and maybe this is just me being cynical, what good is all this knowledge if we don't actually do anything with it? It's like that whole knowledge is power thing, but only if you use it.
You're getting at something really important, which is that it's not enough to just have knowledge.
Right.
The real challenge, the real work, is applying it, sharing it, using it to actually make a difference.
And that's where we get back to Prometheus, right? And the prisoner.
Exactly. Both of them took action. They tried to share what they knew, even though it was risky.
Prometheus steals the fire, knowing he'll be punished. The prisoner goes back to that cave.
They knew that knowledge, it shouldn't be hoarded. It's meant to be shared.
Even if it gets you in trouble.
Even if it's hard, yeah. It's an act of courage, of compassion,
Yeah.
to say, we're all in this together, and my enlightenment is bound up with yours.
It's like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, and that makes you want to keep going, keep sharing.
It's a journey. And one of the things I kept noticing in these sources was this focus on empathy and perseverance.
Okay, I want to hear more about that. Empathy and perseverance for who, exactly?
Well, for one, that freed prisoner. Right. He goes back to the cave, excited to share, and they all think he's lost it.
Yeah, poor guy.
To actually help them, he needs more than just the facts. He needs empathy.
To remember what it was like to be stuck there.
Exactly. And that's where the perseverance comes in. Because it takes time, to shift those deeply held beliefs.
It's not about forcing it on people.
No, it's about creating a space where those ideas can be heard, considered.
Planting seeds, not expecting them to sprout overnight.
Yes. And even the people sharing the knowledge, they're on their own journeys too.
Right, they're not perfect.
Exactly. They have doubts, frustrations. They might even feel like that prisoner going back to the cave sometimes,
Meeting resistance, feeling like no one's listening.
And that's where that perseverance comes in. Having the courage to keep going, even when it's hard, because you never know who you might inspire.
It's about trusting the process, trusting that the knowledge matters.
Beautifully said. And the journey itself changes you. Even if you don't achieve some grand vision of enlightenment for everyone, just the act of seeking, of questioning, of engaging, it makes us more empathetic, more compassionate, more present in the world.
So we've talked about the importance of knowledge, the challenges, the need for empathy and perseverance, but there's still this question for me. Why is it so hard to change our own minds, let alone someone else's?
That is the question, isn't it? And one thing your sources pointed to was that our beliefs, they're tied to our identity.
Right. So if you believe something really strongly and someone challenges it, it's like a personal attack.
Exactly. And that triggers defensiveness, even anger. Our brains want to protect us. And sometimes that means clinging to what's familiar.
Even if it's not working anymore.
It's human. And then there's the social aspect, too. We're social creatures. We want to belong.
Oh, for sure.
So our beliefs are shaped by our groups, our family, friends, culture.
So if everyone around you believes something, it's tough to go against that.
It can be really hard. There's comfort in conformity, you know? And let's be real, there can be real consequences for challenging those beliefs.
Oh, absolutely. We see it all the time in politics, religion, even just, I don't know, what music you like.
It's true. If you go against the norm, you risk judgment, being excluded.
So it takes guts to challenge those norms.
It does. It's about being brave enough to be uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens, right? Outside those comfort zones.
And that's where empathy and perseverance are so important, again.
100%. If you want to have those conversations, those challenging conversations, you have to start from a place of trying to understand the other person.
Even if you don't agree with them.
Yes. Really listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And being willing to keep having those tough conversations.
Because that's how we connect, how we make the world a little bit better, right?
That's the hope, anyway.
It's funny how we started with these ancient stories and ended up talking about, like, the very real challenges of just talking to each other.
It's all connected, though, right?
Yeah.
These stories, they stick around because they're about being human, about wanting to know more, about being afraid of what we don't understand, about trying to connect.
It's timeless stuff.
It really is.
It's wild to think that these stories, right, from, like, forever ago, still resonate with us today.
It's because they're tapping into those really deep, universal experiences.
They give us a way to understand ourselves, the world around us, all through these, like, ancient lenses.
Exactly. And once you start to see the world through those lenses, like Plato's cave, the hero's journey, those patterns, they pop up everywhere.
Oh, totally. It's like you've unlocked this new level of awareness.
Right. And it gives you a framework, not just for the challenges, but for the potential for growth, for change.
Yeah, it's not just about struggling, it's about what you learn from it.
Exactly.
And we've talked a lot about those challenges, about seeking out knowledge, about challenging what we believe, even when it's hard.
Right. And then trying to share that, even when people push back.
But there's something kind of, I don't know, beautiful about it too, right? This idea that knowledge, enlightenment, it's not just about the facts, it's about something bigger.
Absolutely. In that after school video, they talk about the hero bringing light into darkness.
Right, I remember that.
And it's not just about, like, knowing more stuff. It's about hope, inspiration, making things better.
So we can all tap into that. We don't have to be like mythical heroes to make a difference.
Exactly. Just being curious, questioning things, being open to different perspectives.
It's like being a kid again, you know, when everything was new and exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remembering that learning is an adventure.
It should be fun. So as we wrap up this deep dive here into Plato, Prometheus, the hero's journey, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to walk away with today?
Don't be afraid to question, to challenge, to really explore. The more we learn, the more we realize how much is out there.
Oh, there's always more to discover, that's for sure.
And don't underestimate that power of sharing what you're learning either. You never know who you might inspire.
Love that. So to everyone listening, embrace that inner hero, go find your own sunlight, and never stop questioning those shadows on the wall.
Here.
That's a wrap on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep those minds curious.